Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. And right now, you are railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr.Joe Walker. It's been a roller coaster ride for CM Punk. At All Elite Wrestling's pay-per-view Double or Nothing, he defeated Hangman Adam Page to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Then he went on to Dynamite, where he teamed with FTR to defeat Max Caster and the Gun Club in a very fun trios match. And that roller coaster ride continued and got a bit more treacherous when he walked out on Rampage to announce that he wouldn't be able to compete anymore due to injury. Freshly won championship, beginning his reign as world champion after being away from wrestling for 7 years. He made the ascension, he got the title, and he had to stand there in front of all of his fans, there live and in person and on television, and tell them that he had to leave for a while due to injury. He had tears in his eyes, and he said that sometimes he gets caught in his own head, and he didn't want to disappoint anybody, especially the fans. And honestly, that was hard to watch, and it brought back a memory of my own. So I certainly could relate to what he was saying, and I felt it. While I haven't had an athletic career like CM Punk, how I relate does deal with sports. Back when I was younger, I worked at a local music store called Believe in Music. Some friends of mine and I worked there together. Relationship blogging pioneer Marcus Graham, author Thomas Rain, and designer and producer CJ Plays. We had an incredible ride together online, being a pioneering group in online hip-hop with the Groove Spot online hip-hop magazine back in the day. And we were just young kids, man. We didn't really know anything. But we had a good time working together at the music store. This local music store was involved in a bowling league of local businesses. And I got to be a part of that. I bowled since I was a kid. I'm not like the pro with the fro. I'm not that good. But I was okay. I had a 145-point average. That was decent before we got that job when we were in high school. And we had this job fresh out of high school. Like I said, we were just kids. We were still very young, very ignorant and foolish, but just trying to figure the world out. And we used to bowl when we were in high school. We bowled for fun. We would go out with other groups of friends and just had a good time. Over the years, I developed a pretty good form. I said, no pro, not PBA level. I was decent. And I think we were all pretty decent. And it wasn't until we got in the league that we realized how decent we were, teaming up with some of our other coworkers in this league and competing against some other businesses in town. As we continued in this league, we noticed that we started to ascend the ranks. And like, wow, we're really closing in on the top spots in this league. We're doing really well. I never imagined that we would do that well anyway. Again, I was there mostly for fun. I didn't expect to contribute much. Again, my average wasn't as great as as good as some of the my other coworkers and friends, but it was decent. And sometimes I would have a game where I would greatly exceed my average. I would, 190, 200 plus, but I stayed in that 140, 160 range. Again, my average was 145. So as we began to ascend those ranks and really make a push as one of the best teams in that business league, I broke my finger. I was on a hot streak, actually, and I think I bowled maybe 5 or 6 strikes in a row up to that point. It's doing really well on this particular night. And nervous, going for whatever the next consecutive strike was going to be. So I can't remember if it was 5, 6 in a row. And my finger freakishly got stuck in the ball. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And when I went to throw the ball and release it, it just basically took my finger with it. painful. It was shocking. And that was the end for me, at least for a while. Here we were doing so well, and now you have to subtract my points from the team. I was down with the broken finger. I was extremely disappointed, and I felt hurt from the actual pain, and I felt hurt for my teammates because I felt like I was letting them down. I felt like I was going to be the reason that, maybe we don't win this trophy or prize or whatever it was for being the best, as we continue to climb and get close to that point where it was conceivable that it could happen. But now, take my points off the table, I'm hurt. And I actually cried about it. And I was sad that that happened. And as I healed, I started to think about what it was going to be like to come back and what place we were going to be in. And someone took my place, bowled in my place while I was hurt. I don't remember who it was exactly, but I do remember that their average wasn't as high as mine, which hurt to see because even though I was injured, I still would go on league night and watch. And I just felt so helpless. So as I healed, I'm starting to think about learning all over again, because having an injury like that to my finger, I certainly didn't want that to happen again. But I also wanted to come back and be immediately impactful on the team. Let me give us, hopefully, a push we need. I was down for 6 weeks. I don't remember the amount of time or the length of the tournament or of that league. It was lengthy. It wasn't short, but it wasn't like 6 months or anything like that. But I was down for a while. And when my finger was healed enough to actually bowl, where I could just hold the ball and roll it, now I'm like, okay, I can't put my finger in the ball. I was bowling with a protective glove. And I basically had to learn to bowl differently. I had to learn the process over again. This altered my form. This altered how I threw the ball. This altered the strength and the power at which I threw the ball. Everything changed. My first game back, I was nervous. I was also excited. I was concerned. And honestly, I stunk. I stunk. Watching everyone around me, I could tell that they felt for me, that I wasn't able to bowl like I did before I got hurt. But then there was also the thing like, is it even worth it having me bowl? Because I'm not tallying the points total that I did before, and I'm actually hurting the team even more than what I was when I wasn't bowling. It was better off having the replacement bowler than me. So after that first game or first games back, I remember going home and just sitting on my couch and just thinking about it all. So I imagine what it was like for CM Punk to go home after Rampage, after saying he was injured, and to just sit there and think about what just happened. And what's it going to be like for him when he does come back? Of course, they're doing the interim champion. There's going to be a unification match when he returns because he didn't have to relinquish the title. But there's going to be a champion in his place. He's coming back. He's going to have to battle someone else for that unified title. But what condition is he going to come back in? CM Punk was away from wrestling for 7 years. And then to have a significant injury, one that required surgery, and to come back, he's not a young guy. His body is not the same. He might still think the same somewhat in his mind. He might, he has the instincts because of his experience. So he might come back with, I need to wrestle differently now. I need to do my moves differently. I need to take bumps differently. He might not be the same. This may be an opportunity for him to really switch things up. It could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. With him being one of my all-time favorite professional wrestlers, I'm hoping that it's going to be a blessing in disguise. I'm hoping that this is a glass half full situation and he'll come back with the most crisp half glass of water he could have possibly asked for at this point in his career. And that he's able to drink it down, be hydrated, and give the fans the type of entertainment and the type of matches that he can, considering what happened to him leading up to that point. Punk has been around for a long time. I watched him in Ring of Honor, his WWE run, and I have very much been enjoying his return and was looking forward to the match possibilities with him as World Heavyweight Champion. And I know eventually we'll probably still get that, depending on whether he wins the unification match or not. It would be interesting to see where they go with it if he doesn't, and maybe he has to kind of claw his way back up. That would be interesting. Give himself some time to figure things out again. Maybe, like I said, maybe physically and mentally things are going to be different for him than what they were before the injury. He's got a lot to consider. And that's the thing that I can relate to. Having so much to consider. Again, bowling is nothing in comparison to professional wrestling physically, but I broke my finger, which completely altered the way I held and threw the ball. And it was a long time before I was ever able to stick my fingers in the holes of the ball. And I had to start using a totally new ball. My finger just wasn't the same. Matter of fact, the way my finger healed and my knuckles, and it didn't even fit the ball anymore. It was weird. I had to get a new ball. Start from scratch. So think about that. So when he stood there in the ring and he spoke with those tears in his eyes, I felt that. And I want everyone listening, and you can share your thoughts in the comments if you'd like, to consider a time when you had a physical, emotional, or setback of both, where you had to reconsider how you did things before and after that happened. Thank you for listening to Railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker, on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and support the platform wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow The Whip Show podcast on all social media, and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joe Walker. No excuses. Championships only. Be kind, be creative, win.